Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall-Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm honored to be connecting in with you as we connect in heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit in November. I don't know for you, but I was a little bit surprised when I realized, my goodness, we're on the next month. When November 1st happened, it came a little bit quick for me. So I don't know if any of you are experiencing that out there, and we're already a week into November. And so I just want to encourage you to be aware of how quickly time can move and choose how you're going to show up in that. Choose what you're going to move forward with. Really guard your goals and your objectives and the things that you're wanting to bring forward and the way that you're wanting to be. When you feel that acceleration of the calendar, for me, it's always this reminder, okay, take a breath. Let me refocus. Let me recalibrate where needed so that I can continue and finish powerfully and on purpose and beautifully the end of the year and start the new year in alignment with all that I'm called to be and to bring forward. And I feel like as we enter into November and the holiday season, there can be so many pulls on us. And I think it's important to remember to ground ourselves, to be mindful, to be purposeful. And so I'm honored to have you connecting in and sharing this time with us. And I want to encourage you to use this time for you. Choose to take the deep breaths. Choose to be fully present and allow us to pour into you so you can be filled up as you get ready to go back out into the world. This is your time. Thank you for leaning into this opportunity for us to connect in and come alongside you. Today, we have two amazing guests. They are very powerful, accomplished, dynamic women that are not only amazing what they have accomplished and done and brought forward, how they're choosing to be, and how they are blazing trails, creating a path for others to follow. They're very on purpose and in that mission of really helping make the world a better place. And that really aligns with my heart. And so I'm very excited to have them joining us today. And I celebrate the trails they are creating and blazing for others. And we have an opportunity that we can lean in and be part of that. We can join forces with others to bring forward those things that matter most. It's not a solo journey. We have an opportunity to come together, to support each other, to build off of each other's strengths and skills and knowledge and abilities. And so I encourage you to open your ears to hear, your hearts to receive. I know you're going to be inspired by today's conversation, uplifted, and I think motivated with some of the information that will be shared today. So thank you for leaning in. Looking forward to how the conversation will unfold, and I want to support us in becoming fully present. So let's take a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keep taking beautiful breaths. As you do so, I want you to feel that air filling your lungs and bringing energy and life to every cell in your body. Releasing all that it does not serve anymore. You're just letting that go, releasing it, thanking it for what it has done, and then letting it go. This deep breathing helps bring us present, lowers our stress levels, our cortisol levels, which gives us clearer thinking, and creates space so we can be open to receiving. I invite you to put both hands on your heart. Again, taking another breath, keep breathing. Close your eyes. You are absolutely safe. And as you're breathing, I want you to take notice of the heart and the beat of your heart. And as you're tuning into your heart, beat by beat, what is it saying to you? What is it sharing with you as we're reflecting on being mindful and purposeful during the holidays? as we're reflecting on choosing to maybe recalibrate, coming together, blazing trails for ourselves and others. What do you need? What's coming to your heart, to your spirit, as you take a moment to slow down and listen to that still small voice, beat by beat? What is it speaking to you? What is it reminding you of? What is it sharing with you that you need today to support you on your journey? And I'm going to add that you are willing to receive because you have choice. So what is it that you need and are willing to receive? Beautiful. Receive that information. Let's go ahead and take a breath. Open up your eyes, fully present. Take a moment and write down what was laid on your heart. I want you to keep it top of mind. So throughout our conversation today, you glance down at that paper to keep it top of mind. That you are open to receiving support to help bring that forward, whatever is on your heart, to allow that reminder, that information, that support to come in. And you're excited by the unexpected way. You might be surprised on how that support comes in. Sometimes it comes in a way we never saw coming. It's a beautiful gift you get to unwrap and discover. So be open to receiving, to moving forward those things that matter most. We're going to take a minute and go around our virtual room. And as we do so, I'm going to invite each of our guests today to share when they took a moment to stop, pause, and listen to their heart. What did they hear? What was laid on their heart that they want to share with you today? Lena, I'd love to start with you.
Thank you so much. I think it's in the power of being still and the knowing that comes with that, the clarity that comes with that. It feels like everything is just so hectic, and taking the time to listen to yourself really brings some important insights and a sense of direction.
Yes. And it's so easy to forget to do it, to listen. So I love that.
Absolutely. To be deliberate about standing still and unafraid to do so.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Carla, how about you? What was laid on your heart?
Well, as you were leading us in the meditation, Rebecca, I was looking out the window at the leaves on the ground and the bare trees and thinking about how this is a time of change and growth. As the seasons change, we have the opportunity to grow ourselves.
Oh, I love that. As the seasons change, we have this opportunity to grow ourselves. And I think we forget that sometimes. We get so busy. So that's a beautiful reminder. And I hope everyone, as she shared that, I found myself, Carla, I started to look out my window at the tree. So it's a great visual reminder that as we see those seasons changing, to remember that it gives us an opportunity to change and grow too. I love that. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And listeners, how about you? Did you find yourself looking out the window at something outside as Carla shared? Did you feel that power, as Lena shared, about standing still and the clarity that can come from that, and the power that comes when we're willing to be still and to listen? What was laid on your heart? As we get ready to go to our first commercial break, and those commercials with updates and information we want you to be aware of is playing in the background, I invite you to stay present and listen to what is being shared with you in your heart and your spirit when you slow down and you listen, and see how the insights that were shared with us are adding to that. And when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on blazing trails for ourselves and for others. We look forward to talking to you and continuing in just a moment.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Explore the poetry of Sam Yao. His book of poems, Soul's Journey, is a #1 international bestseller. Sam is a contemporary poet with a unique and highly relatable poetic style to convey the essence of spiritual truths for our time. Readers will find beauty, inspiration, and healing in his words. Get his book, Soul's Journey, today on Amazon.com or visit SamYauPoetry.com. That's Sam, Y-A-U, Poetry.com.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes just for you. I find it's amazing what a difference 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes can make when we're being mindful and purposeful about them. So I invite you to enjoy those 2 minutes moments. We have them built throughout the show just for you. They're designed on purpose to support you in your experience of the journey today. And this is experiential. So I want you to be present to really receive what's being shared. And during those 2 minute moments, it's a time to process, to integrate. So it doesn't just get on your to-do list, someday list, but it actually becomes part of you and who you are and how you're looking at the world. So really use those 2 minutes to support you on your journey. Well, welcome back. We're talking with two amazing guests that are going to be supporting us on our journey. And I am just thrilled to share a little bit about our first guest, Carla Frank. She is an accidental athlete. She failed physical education in school and spent most of her life behind a desk or on the couch. And she decided to celebrate her 40th birthday by walking a marathon. Since then, she has participated in 130 races, including 22 full marathons. And I want to just share, when I first experienced Carla, I got to see her in a video. And in the background, she has all of these medals around her from the different races. It's very impactful and powerful to see that visual. So I want you to visualize that as we're talking and she's sharing. She is absolutely passionate about helping women of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds achieve their own athletic potential. Can we please lean in and warmly welcome the dynamic, athletic, and powerful Carla Frank to the show? Welcome!
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Wow, I love that introduction. I've never thought of myself as athletic, but I appreciate the warm welcome.
Oh, you are so welcome, and absolutely to me, you are. And I so see that in all that you have done and are bringing forward and helping others do. So I love that. And I would love for you to share a little bit about why you do the work that you do with others. So if you I'd love for you to describe that a little bit, and then why this work of helping others, women in particular, of all shapes and sizes, reach their athletic potential. Why is that work important to you?
Well, as you mentioned, I had absolutely no athletic strain in my body. My parents were sedentary. Our family vacations to national parks would involve standing in front of the iconic image, taking a picture, and then leaving. I didn't know that other families went camping and hiking and spent time outdoors. This was a world that was completely foreign to me. And I went to college and studied accounting, so that didn't encourage me to get moving in any way, shape, or form. And then one day, my husband left me, and my life completely changed. And I started walking for mental health, not out of any desire to be athletic or to be fit, but just because killing people is illegal and I didn't want to go to jail. So I walked for mental health and realized that not only did it elevate me, it completely changed my life. Things that I never dreamed of doing were open to me. And I want to share that passion with others because so many women feel that that's not something they can do, and it's not true. You don't need special genes. You don't need talent. You don't need to know how to do anything. You can learn to be active, and it can completely elevate your life.
Thank you for sharing that. And I love that it's so accessible that we can walk and shift so many things about ourselves. But I find that the habits that we have, the way we're used to being, if we're used to being sedentary, that's like a really big shift to imagine a marathon or something, running or things like that can seem so foreign to how we experience the world. How do we shift? What's a step that we can take?
I know. It's crazy. My friends from high school are like, you did what? And how many times? Right? But you can, because just like everything you do in life, shifts happen in little tiny steps. I started by walking around the block. I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, life sucks. I'm going to start walking marathons. I was like, I don't feel so good today, so I'm going to walk around the block. And that made me feel a little better. So the next day I walked around the block twice. It took me, I think, 2 years to train for my first marathon. And only a year into it did I actually set the goal of the marathon. Just because I was having so much fun, I wanted to have something to look forward to. So one thing that'll help you reach a new goal is to set a goal for yourself. And it can be something as simple as walking to a friend's house to have coffee rather than driving. Right? The supermarket's a mile from my house. Now I walk to the supermarket to get my groceries a couple days a week and, carry small bags back rather than getting, a carload full and driving that mile. So it just starts with little steps and finding something that you enjoy. What I found was that I really enjoyed walking and being outside in nature and, seeing things from the ground level. It's no coincidence that when you were talking, I was looking out the window because nature makes me so happy. So finding a place that speaks to you or an activity that speaks to you is a great way to start. Like you said, you don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to do a marathon. But that doesn't mean you won't one day.
Well, I was thinking even for that person maybe that does wakes up, I think I want to do that. But it can be really daunting, especially if they're in a more sedentary place to know what to do between that and where they're wanting to go, and taking those small steps and goals along the way, I think is really powerful, and appreciate it. It sounds like in the walking that you do, you're very present in taking
Most
in.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
For me, it's a meditative Sorry to interrupt you. For me, it's a meditative process. And I lead a program of ladies, just like you have your podcast called Finding Joy in Motion. And a lady joined my program. She said she had stopped working out, that she was active when she was young, but had stopped working out in her 50s because she thought she was just getting too old for it. And she joined my program and over 24 weeks trained to walk a half marathon. And we met as a group, all the ladies in the program, and we did the half marathon. It was this past weekend over Halloween, so we got dressed up in costumes. We had a great time. We walked 13 miles. And she was so proud of herself that she had done her first half marathon. And she told us, I never would have guessed, that she was 65 years old. So when she was 50, she said, well, I can't be active anymore because, I'm getting older and my body's getting older. And then she managed to walk her first marathon in honor of her 65th birthday just because she joined a community of ladies who were doing the same thing. And it became a community activity and a social process as opposed to thinking I'm going to exercise or I'm going to work out. We often think of things like this as something we have to do. And I encourage you to think of it as something you get to do. It's a pleasure and an honor to be able to move.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And so playing off of that, that it is an honor and a pleasure that we get to move. Why is it important that we move? Why is it important that we stay active?
Oh, well, studies show that it does. Sorry, my dog's really excited about that plan. Studies show that not only is it good for your mental health, as I found? It's, of course, good for your physical health. And it not only reduces your risk of cardiovascular activity and improves your breathing and your blood flow, but as I mentioned, it's meditative. So it improves your entire body, mind, and spirit as you do it. And, of course, a body in motion stays in motion and gets to do whatever's on its bucket list. And a body at rest stays at rest and eventually atrophies. That's something my mother's going through at 82, right? She can't open a jar because my dad always opened the jars, but my dad passed away. And she found out that her muscles just won't do it anymore. I'm hoping to still be running marathons in my 80s because I'm not going to stop. And whatever is on your bucket list, even if it's writing a book, something that seems sedentary, you need a strong core to do that. How did we learn in the past, 2 years of the pandemic, what a strong core it takes to just sit on Zoom all day in front of your computer?
Yep. Oh,
and the better equipped your body is, the easier that will be.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And you start that motion and you can continue it, that path and that energy. So you get to build from that. Each step along that path, I think, would get easier even as you're stretching and growing. So one of the comments I hear is, I don't have time. I am way too busy. What would you say to that, or how would you encourage people if we don't have a lot of time to work out?
Well, everyone has 5 minutes during the day, right? You think that this is something you have to plan for an hour, or you have to do it for a long time. Just put 5 minutes on your calendar and say, I'm going to get up and move. In between meetings, in between calls, or even while you're on a call, you can be walking around. You can be walking inside. Just schedule it on your calendar. That's what you would do for your clients, right? That's what you do for your family. Aren't you just as important as your most important client? So I schedule it on my calendar during intervals of the day. And I also encourage people to take walking meetings. So our Women in Motion group, we meet several times a week on Zoom for networking. But instead of sitting in front of our computer, we're talking on our phones as we walk around our neighborhoods. So you get to get some fresh air, some movement, and get your work done by networking, taking care of meetings, whatever it is you need to do while you're moving.
Nice. Nice. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that because that is a common thing we hear, and I love those ideas and solutions. So is there a quick tip that you can give as we bring our interview segment to a close, a quick tip or where we can get started or first step for someone who said, you know what, I want to start to move more. I want to start to build that in. What is something you would share with them?
Have a buddy. Get a friend and do it together. Right? Schedule it on your calendar. Go walk to the coffee shop together or walk from each of your houses and meet at the coffee shop. Right? It's a fun thing. Consider this your personal time for yourself today, not one more thing on your to-do list, because it really is for your benefit and your enjoyment. So whatever makes it fun for you, incorporate that into your movement.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your willingness to help walk beside so many others as they start to blaze trails for themselves too and build those paths into their life and achieve walking marathons and other things in their life as they build movement back into how they are being. I just appreciate the work that you do and your time today in sharing some of your wisdom, insight, and tips with us. And listeners, we are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do, I want you to think about what Carla has shared with us. And is there a way you can start to weave movement into your life, even 5 minutes, starting today? Where can you put that on your calendar, starting today, to support you on your journey? And we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just a moment.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
On Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, Dr. Virdra Jackson presents stories and powerful guest experts from business, health, relationships, and faith. Every story has its flip side, and we are here to delve into the story and challenge you to view what has kept you in a singular mindset and turn it into the flip side. When you can effectively do that, you'll experience necessary growth. Tune in live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and 2 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and that you looked at your schedule today and found a way to put in a little bit of movement. Maybe it's even stepping outside for a moment and appreciating the fresh air and noticing something about the seasons changing, and just see if there's a message in that for you. So maybe even moving outside for a moment and walking around the yard, even if time doesn't allow a longer stretch. So I encourage you to take a moment today, put that into your schedule, start bringing movement into your life so that you can take exquisite, powerful, wonderful care of you. Because if we're going to be blazing trails for ourselves and others, it's important that we're able to walk the trail, that we're able to stand, we're able to move forward in the way that we're made and called to. So I want to encourage you to bring some movement into your life. I'm excited to introduce our next amazing guest, and she's creating movements in another way around empowering women around the world. So I'm very excited to introduce you to her. Her name is Lena, and she is a global women's rights expert with over 2 decades of experience worldwide. She has a PhD and currently serves as the executive director of the Arab Institute for Women at the Lebanese American University, covering 22 Arab states. She has appeared in TEDx, CNN, BBC, France 24, and ABC's Good Morning America. She was recently awarded the Vital Voices Fellowship Award for 2021 for her outstanding work as a woman leader. She is passionate about women's rights around the world. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Lena Abby Rafi to the show. Welcome!
What a beautiful welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. My hands were raised. Excited to have you joining us.
You got me excited.
Good. I'm glad. It's transferable. So I am. I'm excited and thrilled. And I wanted to start our conversation with why. Why is this work that you do so powerfully around the world? Why is it important to you?
You know, I was listening to Carla, actually, let me just say, and I took on board her idea of being an accidental athlete. And that is my story, too, not as an athlete, but as an activist, an academic. You know, I don't think anyone goes into this work thinking, I'm going to fix everything that's wrong with the world. But I came into this at a very young age and realized that the world is fundamentally unequal and that women and girls were not getting their fair share. And it made me angry. And that is what catapulted me into this work. And I've done it now for over 30 years, and I'll do it until we fix this problem once and for all.
Thank you for sharing. And I love that you've harnessed that anger for good to make a difference, not just stay stuck in it, but to see something that needs to shift and change, and to make such a commitment to be part of that and to continue until you see that shift and change happen. So I'd like to talk about this shift and change. So before we get into kind of a snapshot of where we are in the world right now around this, around women's rights, why is it important in the first place that we understand what's happening to women outside of our circle of influence or direct connection? Why is it important that we know what's happening?
Well, we need to be aware of what's happening around us in the world, but also it is within our circle of influence. When we look at things like violence against women, for instance, we know that 1 in 3 women and girls worldwide are going to be affected. That's you and me and everybody that we know. And those are just reported figures. So you can imagine what's happening around the world to women and girls, women that we know and love and care about, in terms of intimate partner violence or sexual harassment or any number of the different forms of violence that exist. So the abuse is egregious and it's everywhere. And there isn't a single country in the world that has achieved equality, which I think is just an unbelievable crime, especially when we know that equality is better for all of us, not just for women. We all benefit.
Yes. I appreciate sharing that. And that's I was thinking 1 in 3, there are 3 of us on the call today. And those are just the reported numbers. So I love how you emphasize that it is within our circles. It is something, it's just something maybe we're not talking about. Do you find that's the case? Like it's something that people are uncomfortable with, so they lean away from? do you find that? And if that's the case, how is that affecting the issue?
I think it's very easy to lean away, to look away, to ignore it, to say it doesn't happen here or it doesn't happen to me or my country or my community or my religion or my socioeconomic status. And I wish that were true for people, but it's not. It is far too easy and, in fact, kind of dangerous to other that violence and say, well, those things just happen to women over there and other places, like, that's just Afghanistan, as one place where I've worked, or that's just Congo, another place I've worked. These kinds of things you think don't happen around us, but actually they do. And ignoring it prevents us from adequately dealing with the problem. And there's so much shame and blame and stigma around it. It makes it really difficult to tackle. We need a whole generational shift in the way that we approach how we value people.
So is there something that as we lean into this and soak in that, this is something very real that affects all of us and it's globally, it's not excluding anyone, then what can we do about it? What are some steps? What are some things we can do to shift the tide there?
It takes, first of all, being informed and paying attention. Understanding that there are things that are happening around us that are wrong, that make us uncomfortable or are making someone else uncomfortable. And we have the power to stop them. Being a responsible bystander without putting yourself at risk, but turning to someone to say, you know what, please stop that. Understanding what is said and what is implied and looking around your room, whatever room you occupy, whether it's at home or the boardroom or the schoolroom, to see who's there and who isn't, and who's speaking and who isn't, and who's leading and who isn't. And when we start to pay attention to those kinds of things and create space for people and start to take responsibility for, first of all, our own actions, but also for protecting others, that opens up a whole new way of dealing with each other.
And I love that, really taking note and being aware and creating space and holding space for others is such a powerful, positive way that we can help start to shift these things on a daily basis. And I'd love to look at this as we take a snapshot of what you see going on in the world, because I want to build that awareness. We have that, 1 in 3 statistic that you shared with us, and those are just the reported cases. But globally, that gender equality hasn't been reached anywhere in the world that you're seeing in all these years that you've been working to help shift the tide.
Exactly.
That's right. Still,
I'll tell you this.
Please, that.
Actually, at the present pace, the way that we're puttering along now, it will take us 100 years to close the gender gap. So the gender gap measures the difference between men and women in terms of access to education, health, political participation, the economy, all those things that you think that we should already have in a country like this, for instance. But we are globally 100 years away. And I don't think I'll live that long. I don't think I'll live to see it close, and I'm not willing to be patient. And I believe that others aren't as well. And when they hear that and they think, oh my goodness, okay, well, I thought we all had equality now. I thought there was equality in education. But at the same time, the majority of people who are illiterate are women and girls. Or I thought there was equality in the workplace. But take a look at who's leading, and that'll tell you we're very far from it. And politics, look how many female heads of state we have. Very few. We're still very far behind.
Yep. And I love that perspective, just giving us something to measure and realize, and that we can be part of shifting that, of accelerating it, of building awareness. And is there something that we can do so the level of being aware, creating space, creating room, are there additional things that we can do to start to close that gap?
It's really about responsibility and accountability. People ask me a lot, what can I do? Or can I do anything at all? And is this just hopeless? And I say, well, if you're interested, say, in starting an environmental program or being more environmentally aware, you're not going to start by strapping yourself to a tractor or getting on a Greenpeace ship bound for Antarctica. You could just start by taking your Coke can from the trash and moving it into the recycle bin. And that's already amazing and important. And those kinds of micro behaviors have an exponential impact. And behavior is contagious. So you might as well make it good, right? You might as well look around and say, I'm going to take responsibility for this and stop sexist behavior or comments, or create space in the workplace for women to be more engaged. We can all do that. I certainly would like men and boys to do more of that, but ultimately it's on everyone to fix what is a long-running inequality, and one that I personally would like to end in my lifetime.
Not the 100 years. Exactly.
Not 100 years. I don't think I'll stick around that long.
Yeah. Oh, no, I appreciate that. And I think that's important for us to realize that we can make a difference on a daily basis, and that spreads, and that those behaviors, those actions can make a global difference, heart by heart, life by life, as we start to shift our awareness and our behaviors to create more space, to bring awareness, to stand up for others, to hold space for others and create space and a safe place for people to be. What else would you add to that as you're taking a moment? We have the world listening, leaning in. What would you add to this conversation today to support men and women around the world in helping us close that gap?
It really is about taking action. It is about looking around to look at yourself as well and notice your own behaviors. It is shocking how often we condone sexist attitudes and beliefs. We hold them ourselves. We believe on so many levels that women don't deserve equality or aren't equal or are lesser than in sports, for instance, or in math and science, or in political leadership, or in any of those areas. We need to actually reframe the way we think about the value of women and girls and who has a right to leadership or education or any opportunities, who has a voice, who has choice, and who doesn't. And there is no reason at all, not biological or otherwise, why women cannot lead or play sports or run an economy, run a country. I see no reason at all. But we are historically lagging behind, and we just can't seem to shake that inequality out of all the others that we deal with. I mean, let's fix this one first.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And listeners, I want you to take a moment and just start to put down some questions, things that you're going to look at as you go through your day, or be aware of, pay attention to. Maybe open up how you're thinking about something. I love that, on the Zoom calls, pay attention to who's in the room and who's not, who has a voice and who doesn't. It may be creating space proactively for others, and, looking at perhaps some of our beliefs about how, who is strong in certain areas. How are we looking at that? What are we saying? What are we echoing out? I think it's important we look at ourselves and we look in the mirror, and then we also pay attention. I like how you were sharing, Lena. Let's echo out something good. If we're going to be sharing things out, let's choose things that are purposeful and mindful on purpose, and creating the positive change that we're wanting to see in the world. Let's be really mindful about that. So any final thought or word that you want to share with our listeners today?
Well, I think that idea of being mindful and being the person that you'd like to see in the world and taking responsibility for the world that you'd like to create, I think is critical. And when people see you do that, absolutely, it is contagious. And when it comes from your own community or peer group, when it comes from the inside, it's so much more powerful. And I think there are voices out there who recognize that some things are wrong and see behavior that makes them uncomfortable, but they don't stop it. They don't take action. And I would encourage those people to be courageous and to take initiative and to start to build that kind of change. It might be scary at first, but it is so important, and it is going to make a big difference in the long run.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you taking time with us to come alongside us in this important area as we blaze trails for other women. I love that we get to start with ourselves And really, how are we showing up in the world? How are we being what we want to see in the world? And what are we echoing out and reinforcing or bringing forward? Because together we can close that gap. We can shorten that 100 years. I agree, that's too long. We can shorten that. And we can do that heart by heart. Life by life. Yeah, too long. So with that, listeners, we are going to our next commercial break. And as we do that, I want you to think about what Lena has shared and perhaps add a couple of thoughts or notes that you're going to start being aware of or paying attention to. And just like that shift of this one thing, instead of putting the Coke can in the garbage, moving into the recycle bin, what are a couple of things that you actively can start to do in your life to bring forward those things that matter most to you, including equality for women? We'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just a moment.
Voice America is on your favorite smart speaker. If you have Alexa or Google Home, go ahead and give us a try.
Hey Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast on TuneIn.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
You need to live up to your full potential. You've heard that for years, but now there's a channel to help you get there. Introducing the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Our listeners have told us that they want to be motivated, hear about success stories, and positive encouragement around the clock. And we've responded to you. The Voice America Empowerment Channel is the home of the world's top life coaches, entrepreneurs, and success experts. Listen to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. It's here at voiceamericaempowerment.com.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and you put down some things to think about, to pay attention to, maybe start to add as a question or awareness or perhaps a new habit in your life of how you are making space for others, how you're looking to and paying attention to and creating awareness and taking, I think, responsibility for yourself and others in a positive, proactive way. So I love that. And as I reflect back on our conversation today, we've been talking about blazing trails. And I love how Carla, the accidental athlete, has given us some tips on how to start building movement into our life and how important that is. And Lena has given us some great wisdom and insight on how we can start to close this gap so it doesn't take 100 years, that we can accelerate that. And we're part of that. We get to be part of that solution, part of closing the gap. And as we reflect on those things, I really wanted you to be able to connect with our experts. They are here walking beside you, supporting you on your journey. And I want you to be able to lean into them and connect with them and go deeper and further so that you have that support on your journey. And with that, I'm going to have each of them share their contact information, the best way to connect with them. You'll also see it in their bio and information. So I encourage you to have your paper and pen ready as we go around the room and they share the best way to connect in. Carla, I'm going to start with you. What's the best way for people to connect with you and go deeper?
Well, thanks so much, Rebecca. My group is called Women in Motion, Run the World. WIM for short, WIM. And you can connect with me on my website, WIMRunTheWorld.com. And there you can find information on our daily walks. We walk for 30 minutes on Zoom. So if you don't have a buddy or you want to start off with us, you're more than welcome to join us via Zoom, and you can get the information on the website. And there also, if 30 minutes is too long for you, we've got some 5-minute exercise demonstrations on the website for you to start just inside 5 minutes at the time. So I hope to see you there. That's WimRunTheWorld.com.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you've even given us a 5-minute solution too. That's perfect. So thank you. Thank you for joining us today, making that available. Beautiful. Lena, can you share with us the best way for people to connect in and go deeper?
Absolutely. I have a website and Instagram and Twitter, and it's all under my first and last name. So that's Lina, Lina, and the last name is Abirafeh, Abirafeh. So it's LinaAbirafeh.com, and that's my Twitter handle and Instagram as well. And I'm sharing information on women's rights around the world, what's happening, what you can do about it, how to take action, how to care, how to step up. So I hope you will join me there.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it and look forward to many people leaning in and following and connecting with both of you. I want to do a super fast speed round of a final tip as people are getting ready to go back out into the world. I'm going to invite listeners. I encourage you to take 2 minutes after the end of the show, and you could even expand it to 5 if you wanted to walk while you're doing this. I want to encourage you to take a few minutes to really process what has been shared with you today and breathe it in deeply, see how you can incorporate it into your life, see what it means to you, release what does not serve, take in what does, and then as you get ready to move back into the daily flow, do so mindfully and purposely. So with that, I would love to go around the room one last time and just get a final thought, reminder, or cheering us on from each of our guests as we get ready to spend a couple minutes transition before we go rushing back out into the world. So Carla, what's your final tip or reminder or encouraging us on?
Believe in yourself. You can do whatever you set your mind to, even if you've never done anything like that before. Believe in yourself.
Oh, I love that. Believe in yourself. Beautiful. And know that we are believing in you as well. I just want to add that, that we are cheering you on and believing in you too, but you've got to believe in yourself. Beautiful. Lena, what's your final tip, thought, encouragement?
Well, just to know that this world has enough room for all of us, and we all deserve the same rights, equality, dignity, and respect. And granting everybody that is part of what is our natural born right. And so we need to make sure that we deliver on that for all of us. It's going to build the kind of world that we all deserve.
And I love that we get to be part of building that. I love that. So thank you so much for sharing. And listeners, I want to thank you for joining in. And I want you to remember you are an important part of the equation and how the world is going to be, and that you're absolutely needed in the world. And I want to invite you to be willing to fully show up, fully share the amazing gift of who you are, who you're choosing to be. Hold space for others. Create that room. There's room for everybody. Be willing to be seen and heard, and be willing to be part of that change that you're wanting to see. You get to be part of the solution. You get to be part of the shift. You get to help support making the world a better place. So wherever you go, whatever you choose to do, I invite you to do it mindfully and purposely, that you are choosing to bloom where you are planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.